Hybrid Fitness Podcast, where we talk open and honest about all things health, fitness and business, with your hosts, PJ Black and Michael Lennon.
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Hybrid Fitness Podcast. I'm on my own today. John's away doing shit at the minute. On today's podcast, we have none other than actually Crooks. So actually someone who we've been aware of for a while, and his business has just sort of expanded and grown. And he's probably more known for female fat loss, getting people in shape and getting them on stage. But I'll let Ashley talk about that. So Ashley, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so my name is Ashley, and I'm sort of the owner of Ashley Crooks Fitness, and we are like an online nutrition, mainly coaching business for females. And so a lot of our clients that have come to us, they'll have done a lot of other things in the past, you know, with regards to kind of like fad diets. They've done things like Weight Watchers, Slim World, you know, juice diets, all these kind of things. Not that there's, you know, anything necessarily wrong with that, but we find a lot of people, they've failed a lot in the past with other things that they've tried. So our whole mantra is bring them into our world and showing them that you can actually, you know, have the bikini body, have the physique without, you know, having to do a lot of this other stuff that's sort of put out there in the media and, you know, from other coaches and other things got there. So we can use the sort of calorie count and the macro sort of tracking sort of approach, the flexibility, the freedom to sort of, you know, eat what they want within their sort of calories. And we still have an emphasis on quality food, so we do, but we don't mind them having some alcohol in their diet. We don't mind them having some chocolate and stuff. And again, as long as it sort of fits in. And the big thing with us is, you know, getting them adherent and consistent to something for longer than a week or two, so that they can actually fulfill their goals that previously have failed with them doing other things that they just really can't stick to, or they've stuck to for a period of time, and then they've refound it quite badly after that. So very much about teaching them more about the nutrition side of things and sort of developing their own skill and changing their mindset as well is a huge thing with regards to their relationship with food.
Awesome. So like when I first sort of became aware of you, I was working with a bodybuilding coach a few years ago, and it was just, I remember he was just 6 meals, very, very sort of plain, clean eating. And I was just seeing a lot of your stuff, and it was just, you know, you can have this stuff and still get lean and still get shredded. And probably back then I probably had my own bias, as you do as a coach, when you sort of go, no, everyone should be eating healthy and clean, and that's the key to, you know, fat loss and getting in shape. And essentially punishing yourself to get in shape, and you can find out why people don't like that sort of stuff. And I remember speaking to you, and it was that flexible approach, and there is still guidelines. I think that sort of gets blew out of proportion sometimes, the flexibility, but that's when I became aware, and that's obviously when I became interested, and obviously one of the reasons why we wanted you on the podcast and stuff as well. So actually, just give us, like, what's your background in training, what's your background in nutrition before you started at ACF?
Yeah, so my background goes way back. Even, you know, we chatted before we started this year, but even talking about a bit about the business side of things. So my background is a bit strange. I sort of done the usual, went to university. I'd done like the aerospace engineering degree side of things. Sort of just at a point back then, whenever I was 20, 21, I was like, I don't really know what I want to do as a career, you know. Applying for like graduate jobs, nothing was really working out. I was like, this, I just fucking hate this degree anyway, to be honest with you. And so I started, you know, I had my own sort of background with my own sort of interest in sports and whatnot. It was really whenever I got to university, and probably like most sort of guys, you're like teenage guys, you just want a bit of fucking muscle and bigger arms and a better chest. So you do, still looking for the ladder, like, but we're a bit bigger anyway, so we are. But so I just got into an interest, and joined first sort of gym, and just done my own sort of learning with regards to nutrition, which looking back was awful for it was just student life nutrition and whatnot. So I know he's went through that there, and then I actually started, you know, in my last year of university, and I started doing my like necessary qualifications of your level 2, your level 3, just to have the basics, so I could actually, you know, go and start and work in a gym facility. So I'd done all of that there, and whenever I was going through that you know, that kind of process, I was getting a little bit of interest with regards to just friends and family with regards to helping them improve what they were doing in fat loss and whatnot. So I started, you know, I know the whole online coaching thing's just exploded in the last, you know, year, 2-3 years. I've been sort of doing that 5 or 6 years now. I was sort of even my very first clients were online based, so they were now very, very basic Excel sheets, not what it's like today. But I worked at the time, and I was finding they were getting results, so they were, pretty much straight away. And then what I found, almost straight away was, then referrals were coming in, their friends were asking them how they'd done this, and I was like, fuck, I'm actually getting clients here, before I even had left university and stuff. So like, right, we're going to sort of go with the flow here, and we'll see what happens. With regards to that, sort of started out from there. Done the finals, got me a degree somehow, so I did, and literally walked in the gym the next day and goes, this is where I am. Can you pretty much give me a chance with this? And they took me on, so they did, and it kind of just went from there with regards to that. And back then you talked there about your own bias towards the meal plan stuff. Like, we're not going to tell lies here. We've all given the meal plans to clients, so we've all done it. Like, even myself, starting out 5-6 years ago with your own sort of basic nutrition, and we've all made mistakes and we've all learned from that. So as much as I was doing the meal plans and nutrition plans, some people you would have had, you're going to have that 5% client who would literally walk on fire for you. So they were able to stick to it. So they were, and then everyone else was sort of, if they were sticking to it, sweet. If not, whose fault really was it? So I kind of learned pretty quickly, people generally can't really stick to this kind of stuff. So they can't. So again, like, I think even in Northern Ireland and stuff, I was thinking one of the first ones to sort of really implement this kind of approach, and got a bit of stick for it, across social media, going, people were looking at it going, fuck, all this client's drinking chocolate, he doesn't know what he's doing, all this kind of stuff. And now sort of what it is now, where like everyone's sort of the cool thing now to sort of have that sort of approach. So it is, so just even with my own sort of personal development, just investing, time and money into my own sort of education with regards to nutrition courses. I've done most of the big popular ones. So I have traveled around the world, learning from other people in that sort of field, even topping up a bit with the training side of things and biomechanics, a lot of things. And I've just recently completed like a year-long master class with the sort of eating behavior and habit side of things as well. So that's kind of what I've been doing over the last 5 years, and sort of alongside of that there as well, as I gave before we came on, we were talking about just even the marketing and side of things, even just developing skills in that there, being an online sort of business coach, being able to run social media, having an awareness of the process of bringing people into your world and bringing them through that there. So we run a lot of social media, a lot of Facebook groups. We've got a pretty good Facebook group at the minute, and there's over 7,000 females in there who like what we do at the moment, and say our aim is in growing that. If anyone is interested, listening and joining that, it's just actually Crooks Fitness Bikini Academy. If you search that on Facebook, if you send a request, you'll be able to jump in there. So that's where we kind of are at the moment.
Awesome. And it's been great to sort of watch it expand, and like as we were talking around the business side of it, about building a community just helps everyone else, and it ends up, it's not an authoritarian coach, and everyone sort of chipping in and going, oh well, why don't you try this here? I know one of your coaches, Healthy Little Lifter, Aisleen, who I know from training in various gyms, just little things you get there, and the community vibe you feel. It's, when we train our students here at Elite and we're talking about nutrition, the one thing I try and get across to them is, they're going to research some nutrition programs and they're going to do a presentation on it. It's like, forget about the funky name, forget if it's carb backloading or, paleo or whatever it is. Like, how does it work? Why does it work? And there's commonalities between them all. And caloric deficit is obviously the premise one. And it's a case of, even with, if it fits your macros or flexible dieting or whatever you want to sort of call it, there's a means and a way to do it. And it will come down to habits of the client. I'm glad you touched on that there. I know you just recently finished, was it PN2?
Yeah, PN2. So a year long thing. There's a lot of good stuff in the PN2 side of things with regards to behaviours and their whole sort of like big bird's eye view of things. I was going to touch on something else, but sort of it's left my mind for something you just spoke about. It was kind of come back to me.
I'm sure.
So yes, it was with regards to we talked about like flexibility and stuff, and people have this flexibility with regards to food. But our sort of thing is very much about the mindset. So it is, and people coming in with this previous belief that somebody else has told them that they can only diet down or change it, like doing this. Okay, and it's like a lot of ours, like again, whenever they apply for our coaching, they're going to fill out forms, and we ask them specifically, what have you done in the past? What's worked for you? What's failed? And the same thing crops up all the time. All the usual fads, all the juice ads, everything comes up, and we'll get speaking to them, and they'll been told, we'll put them on like maybe double the calories they've maybe been told they could have had, and increase their carbohydrates. And they're like, it's just changing their mindset to getting them away from, I didn't think I could do that. I didn't think I could have that food. I didn't think I could still go out and get meat out in a restaurant and lose body fat. And I'm like, are you winding me up here? Like, sort of thing. Like, with everything they've sort of been taught before. So it's obviously variable from person to person as well. But there's a lot of bit of work with the mindset side of things, and sort of getting the trust going that you can actually have foods that you actually want to eat on a daily basis and still get in shape. And say, coming back to the basic principles, the simple things are the most important. And I'm not sure what you're like with your own development. You kind of get a bit smarter, but I found even at the time I was actually starting to even overcomplicate the process. The more courses you were doing, the more you were learning. Like, oh, I need to be doing this, need to be doing that. A year or two ago, we stripped it right back to basics. So we did, and focused on the most important things that mattered. And so again, it's like what you were saying before. Anything you've learned, you use about 5% of it that's actually applicable to most of the population.
It was, what happened was, I remember when I started my career, I was going to nutrition courses, going to courses thinking I needed to be on, and I just wasn't at the level to even like take that information on. And I remember like a couple of years on, I would go to a course and go, oh, that's what they were talking about back then. That's how that clicks with that. And then it was just like, it ends up going full circles, going to courses about, optimizing your hormones for fat loss, to like the whole full premise in calories matter. And it's just like, oh, well, fuck shit here. That's where I started. You know what I mean?
We could have saved ourselves a lot of money, like, so we could have.
I know, and a lot of time and stuff as well, 100%. And, the reason why I'm sure you've seen John Berardi, who owns obviously PN Nutrition, his 5 series, like his talk at Fitness Business Summit. I loved his 5 series talk because he was talking about adherence, about how their adherence is better than, it's about 78% compared to, someone who would want to take a magic weight loss pill, which is only be 50%. So I love the fact he says we did these studies that if you did say to someone, this pill is going to help you lose weight, on average, they only took it half the time. So they're still not going to get the results. Where he spoke about what we do is just really, really basic behaviors. And it's just like, okay. And it's something that we're obviously trying to apply with our own nutrition. We, our core values at Hybrid is educate and impact. It's not a case of, dictating to someone, and that old style authoritarian coach, I think, works in a very short space of time for people, but then they become reliant on it and they haven't learned anything. And as you say, someone goes to them, you got to eat clean food, this is the only way you can prep, or this is the only way you can lose body fat. And again, it took us a little while to realize this, but it isn't the only way. And
and we're not saying, like, I'm not saying all of this. I know I rip the piss out of keto and stuff and paleo, and it's just for like shits and giggles on social media some of the time, like, but like all those things still work. So it is important. Like, if you can stick to those things, they do work. We're not saying, the flexible sort of approach, people aren't saying those things don't work. We're just saying people fucking can't stick to them for longer than a couple of weeks. So we can't. So it is in the vast majority of cases. So like everything works. The underlying principles are the same for a lot of diets. Even you go to Weight Watchers, Slimming World, they've predetermined the calorie deficit set. If you things you have people throw back all the tell you can eat what you want. Well, if you ever actually try and sit down and eat as much pasta and potatoes as you want, it's actually a fucking pretty difficult thing to do. So it is, you're only going to get so far with that kind of food. It's pretty full. So they've worked out in their own way. So we just make it simpler, and it is about giving them like a continued education. So it is where a lot of people start programs or finish programs, so they have this on-off switch. So they do where they're on something for 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks, and then they're off it, and they're back to, they've learned enough. And kind of the thing with Weight Watchers, they have that method, and they can only eat Weight Watchers food, and then they stop doing that, and we're like, well, what do I eat now? What do I do now? Like, so it's giving them that education to carry things forward, even after they're done their time with us. They can still stay on top of things, and they're aware if they go back to old habits, they start eating more food than they need, they're going to get a bit fat again. That's going to happen. So it is, but they're aware of the process, and they're just better educated. And like, we don't find a lot of people who come in and do our thing and then leave. They don't go back and do all these other kind of sort of fad dads, light ass, whatever you want to call them. They've just got a better knowledge of how to stay on top of things.
Yeah, and it was great that you said about the mindset stuff, because it's something, whenever we get a new client comes through the door, they get a welcome pack. And in our welcome pack, we have, a little booklet based on just nutrition essentials, a booklet on recipes, and a booklet on mindset. And I always find when I'm turning around, I'm talking to these guys about it, and I'm like, listen, if you said to me 5-6 years ago, I'd have said, mindset, airy fairy bullshit. And again, it's not to be biased, because I've been on a lot of courses and I know the education scene because I teach on it. But I was like, we're fucking good coaches. I was like, why are we not getting the results a little bit better than we expect? And it came down to people just not being in the right frame of mind. And I remember I was talking to a client who was on a transformation course with us, and her grandmother just passed away. And so we come in, obviously my job's to have a chat with that person, see what's going on and everything else. And, she just turned around and says, my priorities have changed. And I accepted that. I was just like, listen, I fully accepted that that's the case. And like, if that's the situation, like, what do you want to do going forward? Do you want to continue on maybe just training? Do you want to take a bit of time off and come back? And she's like, I just want to continue on training. And I was like, whenever you feel like you're ready to jump on the bandwagon again, I'm here for you. Whereas,
yeah, it's an important point. Like I say, like with regard to mindset and stuff like that, first step, people have to be ready and willing to change. We don't onboard people, so we don't just start and fight with them going, oh, you really need to start tracking your macros. It's pretty simple. If you don't want to do it, you don't come on board. So there has to be that sort of first step of action. I say some people come on board and they think they're ready, so they're going to get on board. Now it's still a very, very small percentage of people that get through, but they come on board and things don't go the way they want, and you look at that as well. So you do, but it is that first step of that mindset, and people being ready to change, and having that sort of bit of compromise even with us in terms of, right, you're drinking fucking 4 bottles of wine at the weekend, we may need to bring that down to 1 or 2. Are you willing to do that? And it's like, well, if saying no, it's like, well, we can't really help you. So
yeah.
you can't, so there has to be a bit of compromise, and that sort of first step from them saying, you're ready to change. We're going to make this as easy as possible for you during your length of coaching, but you still are going to have to make some changes to your life at the moment, because what you're doing at the moment has you in that current situation. So it doesn't matter what you've been doing, something has to change, no matter how easy or good we can make that for you. So it's important that they realize that, and they're aware that still something has to change.
100%. And what you said there, I hit the nail on the head. I find that I use, PN's social support questionnaire and readiness to change questionnaire just as a tool to go to someone. Do you know what? Are you ready? And have you got the support network around you to actually facilitate this? Because at the end of the day, friends and family are the most well-meaning people, but the ones that usually pull you down. And unless you've got that iron will discipline, like if you can take something like a more flexible approach where people can still go out and enjoy healthy, it makes that process 10 times easier. And as you were saying there, I usually find what holds most people back is their own beliefs, their own biases. And I turn around, we recently did a nutrition seminar for our clients. We do like mini CPDs for our clients. So, we'll do like a kettlebell workshop, we'll do a nutrition workshop, we'll do a movement workshop. It's just to upskill them and educate them. And that was the one thing I found, as you say, we can tend to overcomplicate things. One of my coaches, when he was talking about like proteins, carbs and fats, I just looked at him and went, that was me 5 years ago, overcomplicating shit, where I just went in and went, listen, like, it's very, very simple. If you want to achieve a result, you first need to change that mindset, and then obviously have the knowledge, and that's what we're here for. And you get Mary, who's lost 5 stone on Slimming World, and she says she comes to your door because she hasn't lost any more weight, but she still has that belief system. I'm not blaming Slimming World, by the way, but it's like, okay, we can make some changes here. We can reduce your carbohydrates or up them, whatever. Oh, no, but in Slimming World, they do this. Whoa, hold on a minute. Mary, you're at my door now. Maybe it's about time you educate yourself a little bit on nutrition and not just what someone's taught to you. And I think that's probably one of our hardest things is if people do lose weight doing a certain something, a ketogenic diet, intermittent fasting, whatever it is, they buy into that and they almost feel like it's validating that work.
Yeah. You find that a lot with like people. They say that you nail on the head, like, you have somebody's friend does X, Y, and Z, and they come along, well, my friend done this, and I was like, well, that's great, good, cool story and all that there. Like, that doesn't necessarily mean that's the best thing for you. And I was like, where's your friend going to be 6 months from now? Get the after photo, the aftermath of that there, like, of people coming off things. They do the usual, transformation. So we do, and the after photo, you never see the after photo, and then the same people are back doing the same transformation again. So they are, and a lot of people just yo-yo up and down across the year. And pretty much go fucking nowhere for most of the year. Just within this wee comfort zone, there's up and down for a period of time. And even bringing it back there, you were saying about protein, carbs, and fats. Like literally two things we focus on is the calorie intake per week, which is the most important thing in protein intake. So it is like we've even stepped away from even giving like definite values for carbohydrates and fat intake. We're like, look, if you get calories per week sorted, you can eat a little bit less across the week, adhere to your calorie adherence. So give them a wee bit of an average per day for an idea. Here's your range even for your protein intake.
Okay,
even moving away from giving them like sort of definite numbers, because it doesn't need to be definite. We're like, if you get those two things sorted, your carbohydrate and your fat intake is going to take care of itself. It's like, again, we tell them, like, we're sort of big fans of giving you as much carbohydrates, as much as you can sort of get away with within your calorie range. It's going to make your diet so much easier, more sociable for a start. You ever go out on a Saturday night and try and have a high fat, low carb meal? It's pretty fucking difficult to do. So it is. So we're like, have flexibility with regards to that. To say the most important side of things is the weekly adherence, giving them even the flexibility. We don't even give them the sort of set calories per day. So we don't, like 1,600 calories every day of the week. People can't do that Friday night, Saturday night. We're working off the weekly allowance where they can even eat a little bit less Monday to Thursday, and then the weekends. A lot of our clients they like the weekends. Like, I like my weekends. Most people like to eat more at the weekends. So we're in the same boat as them. So we are.
Yeah.
They can actually have more food the weekend. They still fit into the sort of weekly allowance that we talk about.
Yeah, weekly net calories is something we focus on in here, and you tend to find behaviors and habits from certain groups. Like, as I say, I call them my weekend warriors, guys who like to enjoy more of them. You have your nighttime feeders or whatever it is, and for me, it comes down to, as you say, that educational process. You will naturally find that if you have someone who works 9 to 5, has great routine Monday to Friday, they can eat less. And then at that weekend,
it's pretty easy. Like we said, I'm like, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is probably the easiest day of the week to diet down. Like, so it is like, do you even need to fulfill all your calories in those days? Hit your protein target. Eat, again, bringing it back to the PM kind of stuff and being mindful with their food, and waiting till they're sort of just about food and stuff. It's like, we don't need all those calories. Don't eat them. Like, put them on to them Friday, Saturday night when you're going to have a bit more temptation.
100%, and it's something sometimes you struggle with, as you were saying there. That's where I've sort of got to. I've got to the guideline point of view. Here's where I roughly like to see in between, because if it fits your macros approach got to the point where people are like, okay, I have to eat 208 grams of protein. Like, oh my God, I'm under. And just like, it ends up, because you've got the experience of it yourself coaching, it ends up leading the client get more confused, ask them more questions. And I'm getting messages at 11 o'clock at night going, here, can I have this?
We've all had the messages where the people message me going, I'm 2 grams over my carbohydrate intake. Is that me getting fat now? And I'm like, no, fuck's sake.
And do you know what? I hope, like, it'll take a few years before I think it really catches up. And we were having a debate there. We were at Irish Muscle Power there for Elite, and John, who's a partner of mine, is very, very simplistic in his approach and tries to keep it simple. It's just like, it's everything that is almost bad about the fitness industry. It's always praising people who are obviously selling a product a lot of the time, but the approach like this needs to be brought more to the mainstream and more about health, about clients, because I think you don't have a business unless you have clients, and if you look after your clients, you're going to have a better business, and that's the way we look at this.
Bring it back to the business side of things. I'd say, as much as I sort of use a bit of social media and even a bit of paid traffic and whatnot, a lot of this, I still built a pretty solid online business organically, and it was very much word of mouth. So it wasn't results, and I'm not sure what your audience is like who listen to this here, but like, if you can have all the good lead generation in the world, you can have all the best sort of onboard sales process, but if you're not fulfilling your clients, if your clients aren't getting results, you're fucked. Like, so you're just selling a shit service. So that's a quick way to feel as well. So fulfillment and then having results, and having one of our big things, one of our sort of core values within the sort of business and stuff, is having like an army of happy and satisfied customers who are going to talk. You think if everyone comes into your environment, they're going to have 10, 15, 20 friends, family that they're going to talk about, or they're going to see the results of this person that they lose 2 stone. They're going to ask, they're going to ask, what have you done? Like, tell us a bit more about that. So it's not everything. They rely the business on the referral side of things, but it's still a huge component of it. And even with the social media side of things, that can be even blown up even bigger if they start posting their own pictures and photos on their social media. So the fulfillment and the results side of things is huge. So it is with regard to being successful.
I'm glad you touched on that there. Obviously, the marketing process of marketing, selling and fulfillment. Service is something that we try to get better on, like day on day, week on week, year on year. It's a case of, we try and look at our clients in terms of giving them gifts, presents, trying to, appreciate and give them value. And the way I always tell, any of the guys who are on our mentoring program and stuff as well is, like, they are the best way to sell a product is to get someone else to sell for you. If Mary down the street has lost 5 stone and she's just like, listen, actually it's the best person around, he's helped me, that's worth more than you putting money behind an ad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's 100%. Like even with referrals, you'll have like a cost per client, acquisition and whatnot. That money there. Like you talked. I'm glad you even talked about gifting, man. Like I don't think anyone else gifted in this country either. Like, because gifting's huge. So it is. You think of them receiving that gift, and we do even like sort of handwritten cards and stuff, and birthdays and all of this here side of things. Like I say, that's you're in the few percent of people who are doing that. Like, but it's huge. It is huge. So it is like having that note. I can't even remember what I was going to say before that either.
Yeah, because we just had a girl come in. It was her birthday. We thought she was 40. Someone told us she was 40. She was only 38. So she took it well. So she had a 40 birthday workout there, and then the last guy that we had who was 40, we literally got all our guys together from our group coaching. Everyone did the workout, and like we do little things like claiming Sleeve Donard. We raise money for Harbour Special School. We have another event coming up. It's my business partner's birthday. He's 34, so we're going to be doing like 3,400 pull-ups, 3,400 push-ups, dips. It's going to take us a lot of hours to get done, but all that money will go to the Royal Victoria Hospital for Sick Children, and then blood drives and stuff like that. It's just it's making it more than a gym, because you say there, it's more of a holistic approach now. Training nutrition is just like training nutrition mindset, and if you can build a tribe and a community that enjoys that. It's even again. I know we're chatting more about the business side of things during the female fat loss, but even coming back to like if you're just talking about calories and macros, you get that free on Google. That's like if you're relying on that for just business of calories and macros, like you're a bit screwed. And it is building that community and having those sort of raving fans and customers that are gonna sort of help you. If you haven't got that, you haven't got a business. Like you can have all the fancy funnels, lead generation, but that's all second. That for me anyway, that was secondary. I had already sort of built a good solid base with the customers stuff organically, which I think a lot of people are trying to skip nowadays. They think just sticking a few quid on Facebook is going to solve their problems, and it's like you're pissing money against the wall in most cases, like, because it's such a small percent still of. Now it helps a lot, so it does if you know how to utilize it, but it's still a relatively small thing in the grand scheme of things. Right. Well, we'll get back to the nutrition side of it, because what happens, I generally tend to geek out and then we end up squirreling, as we call it. So obviously most of your clientele, I know you will deal with males and stuff, but like for females, out there listening, what are the things that you commonly see mistakes that females are making?
Yeah, two sort of big things, and this kind of goes back to what we've literally spent the last sort of while talking about, is that the overcomplication of it. And I see a lot of this from people who come to us, and even from other coaches and trainers who generally try to overcomplicate the process. So they do. So they're putting them on like complicated meal plans. They're putting them on silly calories. They're telling them not to have carbohydrates. All of this here, and they generally can't sort of stick to it. That's one of the big things that we see. And then the mindset of the girls coming in, whether they've read something on Google or journalism, whatever it may be, and they see again in our community we're big, posting the results and people sort of talking about it, and there's a lot of interest there going, they're still a bit mind blown at the start, going, how are these people actually getting in that shape, doing all these things that I've been told that I can't do? So there's a lot of sort of curiosity in the group, particularly from people who said came from some of these other things, and have had people on. I was telling people yesterday, and it was the first time that I even heard of macros and stuff, and I was like, mind blowing stuff. And then just taking them through that there. The sort of second one is then we get a lot of girls. Obviously, you'll know there's two ways you can improve your physique. One, focus on losing body fat, getting leaner, or two, putting some muscle tissue on your frame. So we have a lot of girls. We have a lot of girls coming in, and hoping nobody's offended by the word skinny fat, but that's the kind of description I would sort of use.
Yeah.
Use like size 8, 10 girls, 8, 9, stone 10, so whatever it may be. I'm just using that to build an image, but they'll have spent a lot of time focusing on losing body fat. And the ones that we spoke to, they've been trying to do this for a year, 2 years, and their physiques haven't changed. I'm like, you're barking up the wrong tree. So you're focusing on losing body fat, fat mass, but that's not your problem. So it's not you. If you're 8.5 stone, 9 stone, you fucking haven't got a lot of body fat. That's not the problem. So it's not been, even if you can lose, let's say even you do lose 1 to 2 pounds. Well, first of all, you're going to have to go pretty low calories. If you're around 8.5 stone, you're going to be focused on losing body fat. You are going to be the 1,400 calorie, 1,500 calorie person, like, so you are. So if you can stick that 7 days a week, you're going to lose a pound or two. So you are, but it's a day, like, it's not dramatically going to change your physique. So it's not. So what we do, we'll take them on board. Again, we'll chat them through this again, because this will be, for some of them, this will be like the first time they've heard this. All they've been focused on, they've went to other trainers, coaches, and it's all about fat loss, movement, diet, etc. Like, if you actually looked at option number 2 in terms of for you to actually improve your physique, they're like, I've never heard of that before. Didn't know we could do that. I was like, this is what you need to focus on. And again, it's changing that mindset where they'll have maybe come in going, I want a 4-week fix. I'm like, this doesn't happen in 4 weeks, so it doesn't. You're not going to get. They'll be looking at maybe like one of my sort of coaches, Sarah. They follow Sarah on Instagram, and they'll be looking at her, who's like, pro level bikini, and they go, I want to look like her. And we're like, that's took her 4 years, so it has. So you're not going to do this kind of stuff in a couple of weeks. So that's the first sort of bit of buyer that you're sort of working with, is getting them over this sort of, I'm going to do it for 4 weeks. I'm like, I just say no. Like, it's like, if it's going to be that, there's other people that are going to do that for you. Off you go. But it's again explaining to them, like, this is going to take X amount of time for you to realistically get here. We talk about starting to increase your calories, or carbohydrates. And some of the girls we have, 2,500, 3,000, 3,500 calories a day. In some cases, it's obviously all very dependent on the heavy level and the girl. There's no real ceiling to this. We're not afraid to feed these girls, so we're not giving them the calories and the carbohydrates that they need to function. And
that makes a happy woman, by the way.
Makes them happy. Like, they come in, they're like, I want a better bum. It's like, if you want a better bum, you're gonna have to get in the gym floor. You're gonna have to start focusing on your thrusters. Again, one of the first sort of targets we'll set them is like, can you do a double bodyweight glute thruster? Like, whenever you start getting to that point and you start putting that kind of weight in the bar, your glutes are going to change 10 times more than you've ever thought of in the past. And we explain this here to them. Go, you need to do X, Y, and Z for this length of time. Okay, you're going to have comfortable days where you're going to feel a bit full. You're going to have days you're going to feel a little fat with all the food and the carbohydrates. But we're going to monitor things. We're going to set the goals. We're only going to want you to gain maybe half a pound a month, whatever it's going to be, and we're going to keep you in line with that and say, the aim is to add quality tissue. That is going to take months, if not years, in some cases. But if you stick on this here, again, bringing it back around, you've been trying to do X, Y, and Z for 2 years, and you've got fucking nowhere. You're still the same shape. You're still unhappy. You don't like how you look. You don't want to get in the bikini. You don't like your bum. It's like, that hasn't worked for 2 years. So I'm telling you, this is X, Y, and Z. Now, we do get some people that go around and go, I think you're telling lies. Actually, I'm like, well, fair enough. Then keep on doing what you're doing, and sure, we'll speak again in a couple of months. And that still does happen, because again, you're working with that mindset buyer. So they will come back, or they'll be a bit too embarrassed to even speak up and say, and they'll be watching everyone else in their group getting results. But at some stage, they're going to realize that it was sort of telling the truth at the start with regards to that. So that's a massive thing we find, to say those girls who fit that description, you're just so solely focused on trying to lose body fat, and it's like, that is for you is definitely not the best way for you to actually improve your physique. So mapping out that journey, going do this for X many months, and then we're going to focus in on the fat loss side of things. So those are sort of two things that we get a lot.
See, to be honest, that's basically what everyone should be doing in the industry, which is, it's basically what I would call responsible coaching, where the problem with that is, and again, me and my job and us training personal trainers, like, I tell them, listen, here's the pros and cons. It's like, my first thing is, first, do no harm. Like, I want to help that person. I want to put them in the best possible health. Can you lose weight and not be healthy? Of course you can. Can you gain weight and not be healthy? Of course you can. But health makes it a little bit easier to do both. people come to me and probably must get to the same level as you, where they've tried to do it cheap. They've been messed up, from severe low-calorie diets or low-carb diets or whatever it is, low-fat diets. And then I turned around and I had a client come in. She was doing a 12-week transformation with a coach, a bodybuilder, and she's not the biggest girl, but like she was eating 1,000 calories a day. Started to develop amenorrhea, so obviously she wasn't having any periods. Her menstrual cycle wasn't occurring, and coming in, and she's like, I still want to drop body fat. And again, pardon my language, I just turned around and went, listen, you're fucked. Like, you're going to take time. Like, I want to focus on your health. I want to like try and make you like, now you will drop weight as you go up because we're just reducing the caloric deficit. But it's not going to be as much as you think it is, and I just need you to buy into that process.
Yeah, there's a lot there. Like, even just on the topic of the menstrual cycle stuff, like if you're coaching females, this is just from a coach. If you're coaching females and you're not asking about their menstrual cycle, that is fucking poor coaching. So it is, if you're working with females and you don't know if they have a cycle or not, that is extremely poor coaching. If you don't know the history with regards to whether they've lost it in the past, whatever it may be, I'm not really embarrassed to ask them about it. So I don't, like, it's for their own good. I really don't care. Like, it's like, we need to know about this and ask about things like gut health and toilet function. Talking, did you have a shit yesterday and all this kind of stuff? It's like, it's important to know. As funny as it may sound, it's like, if you're not asking about your client's menstrual cycle, if you're too embarrassed, you need to get to grips with things, because that's a huge health marker. If your client has a disruptive cycle or doesn't even have one, like, that's a massive red flag. So it isn't. I don't care who they are that come in, if they have those kind of issues, like, they're not going into a Fatloss coach. I don't care if they go on somewhere else. I explain to them, this is what you need to do. If they think I'm sort of fluffing them around and stuff, well, that's their sort of choice. So it is like, you go somewhere else, they're going to fuck you up even more. So I was like, and the longer that's away, the longer that's going to take to come back. So it is. So it's a huge red flag. Like I said, you gotta be asking about that sort of information if you're working with females.
Yeah, I remember the first time years ago that I started talking to people about their menstrual cycle, and they just looked at me just like, did he just ask about my period? I just said, yeah, it's just like very much trying to not make it uncomfortable, because I like to joke around and have a laugh. So they're like, is he actually serious here? I was just like, when's your period? Like, right? But
again, even with regards to assessments and stuff, you've got to be aware. If people are checking in, we have them color code the weeks and stuff as part of their cycle, as part of their check-in process with us, so we know if they're checking with you in their body weight and the on their period. Like, that's going to take. Some of them aren't even aware that that's actually going to affect things. They don't even realize themselves, so they don't. That they're going to be a couple pounds heavier. And again, it's they don't have mindset that buyer where they're having that freak day. They're like 4 pounds heavier. I'm like, Mother Nature's came. Like, I can't really do much about this, so you may just chill out, relax for a few days, reassess. You're not broke. It's going to happen every month. Just be aware of that, and then we start comparing the weeks, weeks to months as we go by. So with regards to the female fat loss side of things, that's obviously the big difference between dudes and chicks. Like, I
remember listening to obviously Len McDonald when he was saying about writing his book. He was just like, I planned on it being like 70, 80 pages and only taking like a few weeks, and it took me 2 years, and it was like a couple of 100 pages. He's just like, bitches are just so mentally just there's just so much going on in female physiology. It's just like, I just couldn't stop at 70 pages. Like, so yeah, it does show you. Again, I always tell my guys, like, no one knows exactly what's happening in your body. We can just make a well-educated guess in terms of working with people and experience and education and stuff as well. But no, thank you, mate. Like, there is a lot of things that people are doing wrong, and they do need to know. Like, it's what would you say if you have a client coming in, who's trying to lose weight? What are your sort of starting points? What are you trying to get across to that person? As you say, we were talking about mindset there. They're in this zone of like, oh, I can't do this, and as I say, their bias is probably holding them back. Like, how do you coach them and through that, and how do you get them started?
Yeah, we found out the big thing was us going back into the history and go, what have you done in the past? What have you tried in the past with regards to X, Y, and Z? Some of the ones even come to us, they'll even done the calorie counting side of things before. So whenever I see that on the application form, like that sparks interest in me. Going, why is the calorie counting side of things not even worked out for you? And then again, it'll be because they've either tried to do it too restrictive. Again, this is bringing it back to mindset. MyFitnessPal is only a tool. If you're still checking a broccoli meals in MyFitnessPal, that's not MyFitnessPal's fault. So it's not that. So it is. So against the mindset towards how you use those kind of tools. So I'm always sort of intrigued whenever I see that on forums. And even my bias, I'm like, how's my approach not work? That can't be true. Like, so it can't. But it's getting down into that there and seeing, you know, why has that failed for them in the past, and then you dig deeper into that, into really what they struggled about. And I kind of know 9 out of 10 before I get somebody to call why they failed in the past, and it is because they've been over restrictive with calories. They haven't been able to stick to it. They haven't been able to be consistent. So I just dig deeper and deeper and deeper and keep asking why, and dig a hole and find out exactly why that has failed for them in the past. And then again, this come back to the point you had where I think you mentioned everything increasing your girl's calories, and she's like, I'm not going to get fat. And you're like, well, you're so fucking far into the deficit. Like, you know, you've got about 1,000 calories here we can add on, and you're still going to be in a deficit. So you are. So again, that's another thing. So it is. So we'll find out exactly why have they failed in the past, and you know, and even asking them, because they're not silly. You're not working with stupid people. So you're not like, why did that fail for you in the past? What if you were to look back and out, what would you change? Even one thing, what would you change about something you've done in the past that you could change that would maybe have made that a bit more successful? And they'll answer their own question. So you will, and that's a huge thing. And then say, you know, whenever they came to this point of applying for coaching us, they know what we're about. They've seen what we've done. They're very familiar with the other girl, and they've got an awareness of what we do, and they know that we're different. We're going to take better care of them. You know, they are the priority, and we're not just going to sell them some sort of shit that they've done in the past and whatnot. So we don't usually have to like convince them too much. Say they'll have heard of us. They'll have been maybe in the Facebook group for like 6 months. They'll have seen somebody else do X, Y, and Z, and they're just very aware of what we do and what goes on. So whenever we get into in terms of why they fail in the past, it's usually a pretty easy process. And so like, you know, you could actually do this by doing this time. You know, how does that sound to you? You know, being able to diet down on another 6,000 calories a week, more carbohydrates than you've ever had, except, you know, stopping the binges. The binges are a huge thing at the weekend. Even after the 6 p.m. stuff, you know, nobody's binging on ice cream in the mornings. It's always after that 6 p.m. It's going back down into, you know, finding the root. You know, everyone's got a habit loop. You know, if they're binging at that time of day, is why is that happening? Tell me more about your day. You know, you'll find out they'll have enough for 8 hours. I'm like, well, for fuck's sake, if I didn't eat for 8 hours, I'd go home and I'd be hungry and I'd end up raiding the cupboards too. Like, so it's breaking all those habits and finding out if something's going wrong. Why is that person behaving like that there? And tracing the steps back, and they say, again, just from a business perspective and stuff, this takes a bit of time and a bit of care. So it does. You actually have to give a shit about people to go back deep and take time. You know, we spend 30-45 minutes with all, you know, they'll have their initial call with us after they apply, and then they'll have another one even before they get started after we've collected all their data. We will get like you know, they're sort of current eating, what they're like. We'll actually get them to track for a few days. We'll not actually give them any instructions, so we'll be like, to generally just keep us as honest as possible. You know, if they send me back a food there is 1,100 calories, I'm like, dude, like, I know you're telling lies here, so just tell me what you're actually doing. Tell me what you're actually doing. Like, it's like, there's no point. I was like, I've been doing this too long. I know when people are generally just telling porky pies. Like, so I just want to see what you're currently doing. They'll send that back. There's all their other information. We'll spend 30-45 minutes with them then on a call, like going through all of that in detail, so they know exactly what they're getting and how things are going to work in, and just finding out about them. You know, we will go down into, you know, even asking about things like family life, the current sleep, stress, you know, kids. It could be so much. You've got to take a massive bird's eye view of that person's life. So it's, as much as the calories and the macros, nutrition is important, there's a lot of other things that filter into that are going to make that either successful or not successful for that person. So we do spend a bit of time finding out literally as much as we can about that person. We find that we work with like a wide variety of people. You know, I've clients are like long haul pilots. You know, they're in different countries every week. You know, with people who live in hotels, you know, every other day. You know, lots of different things with regards to this. You can't coach someone without knowing what their actual day and week looks like, family life. You know, people even open up to us on the phone. They've maybe got relationship problems, they've maybe in bad marriages, something's not going well at work. This is all important. You know, again, bringing it back even to stress side of things. Again, if they're binging in the evening is because of the stress response to a bad day at work. You know, it's bringing it back, and you know, we'll actually provide them some PDFs and resources and techniques for stress management and everything. So you've got to take a massive bird's eye view of every single person's life.
I think what you just said there was perfect, and you know what I would usually see is, you know, those guys as well who are trying to manage stress on a daily basis, and you know, when I go and take a nutrition seminar. Like I've done that many over the years now, where it's a case of when I walk in the room, I know exactly what everyone wants to hear. They want me to tell them what to eat, and I'm just like, first off, I'm not here to do that, because I have clients who suffer from Crohn's, colitis. I have people who are celiac. I have people who are lactose intolerant, or like you just get that person who is just like, if I turn around and say everyone should be eating mushrooms, someone will be like, I don't like mushrooms. Why? I choked on one when I was 6. It's just like, all right, well, so as you said, it's that personalizing that approach. And you just made me sort of think of something that happened in one of my groups, and I'm going to ask you about that now in a second. So one of our sort of like entry-level programs, new UM42 program, just literally an entry-level program to get them into coaching and get them introduced in. I had 3 girls who were all related to each other. So we had an older female who was sort of mid-30s. We had a younger one who was sort of like just past her mid-20s, and the youngest sister, which was, I think she was 18. And so when we started the new year, I was like, listen, I'm not going to give you any exacts. I just want to see where you are at, track your food. There's 15, 20 people started this new group of people. And I looked at their food diet, and they were eating, I think it was 800 calories. Right? Or again, that's if they put it in correctly, you do get a lot of missed thing. So I was like, okay, so the oldest girl didn't lose a pound. The girl who was in her mid-20s lost like 4 pounds. The youngest girl, 17, 18, lost like 7, 8 pounds. I was like, whoa, what's going on here? Like this is, because they're all just eating the same thing. They're all related. So again, try to bring their calories up, trying to educate them a little bit more. Got to the point where about 2-3 weeks down the lane, the oldest girl was just like, why am I not losing weight? Why is this not happening? And I just turned around and I was just like, what is the youngest girl there got over you? I was just like, age, youth. Yeah. And it gets to a point of like, people have tried so many fad diets and really just like try to, deprive themselves of a whole host of things that I'm sure you see it a lot with females. They don't eat breakfast, don't eat lunch, they pick at things, and then they will binge because you see the patterns anyway. And then having such a metabolic adaptation, I know, again, we can recover from that. It's not a lifelong thing, but the fact of them is down regulating, and then when they do binge, their ability to put on weight becomes higher. So, like, what's your opinions on that? People who have been depriving themselves for long periods of time, want to lose body fat. What's your thought process on that?
In terms of give me a little. So they're trying to lose body fat. They're binging. Yeah.
So they've had a history. Think of the older client, maybe in mid to late 30s. Probably had a history of depriving themselves. They've got what I would call a massive diet history. So I just tell people, every time you've died, it has an impact on your body.
Yeah. It's going back to why they're doing it. Why is she binging? Does she still believe trying to do 800 calories a day is going to be? Again, people are in this mindset. And again, I see this a lot with girls, and like they go and they're like, well, if I can eat 1,800 calories a day to lose body fat, well, I'll lose that a bit quicker than 1,200. I'm like, well, technically you can stick to that, yes, but the issue is you fucking can't stick to that for longer than 3 days. Again, it's bringing them back to the education of the 7-day importance. Like, there's no blue Peter badges from Monday to Friday. Like, you'll lose a pound or 2 up to Friday, and then Monday you're 4 pounds heavier. And I'm like, I say that back and goes, is that what's happening at the moment? And they're like, yeah, they'll agree. Like, it's just getting them to say, I just want them to say yes and yes and yes on the phone, because I know exactly what's going wrong with them. They don't need to tell me their problems. I know what's going wrong. So it's just making them aware, and you start getting the yes and the yes and the yes, and you start to see the wee brain starting to tick. So you're doing it right. They're actually starting to understand this. So it's like, again, it comes back to an educational thing. That 7-day adherence is like, I don't give a fuck if you do 800 calories for 2 days a week. If you're doing 4,000 the other 5, it's just pointless. So just working out, is that an educational thing with her? Does she realize if she eats another 1,000, she's still going to be a deficit? She's going to stop her binges, etc., etc. People, the other thing, just whenever you were talking about that, there is, you'll have people. A good way to spot liars. If somebody's generally sending back an 800 calorie that plan is not losing weight. Like, I'm like, do you need to go to the doctor? Like, so you do, and I'm going to get tested. Like, I've done that in the past, or I still do that. So I do. If somebody sends me through a meal plan and like they're on like 1,000 calories, whatever they should be anyway, and they're not losing weight, I'm like, you got to go to your doctor this week, so you do, and get blood tests done, get your thyroid done, everything. And they come back, then the results come back, the thyroid was fine. Well, you fucking just telling lies then. So you are, or else they came back. And we have cases where people came back and has been thyroid issues. So that's still, there's an important thing there. If somebody generally saying they're doing X, Y, and Z and nothing's moving, it's like, great, well, we've done what we can. We started in every 1800. We've had to bring things down. Nothing's moving. Blah blah blah. Go and see a doctor, and then you find out whether they're telling lies or whether they actually have an issue. And if it's the first one to tell lies, you're just like, again, just go back to being ready to change. And I'm not here to fight people who don't want to be honest with their food report, and we go back and we'll get them back on a call. Like we just don't throw them out into the wilderness. We'll get back on the call. And so where things going wrong to you? Is there something we're doing wrong? What would you like to change? One thing you would like to change that we can make your life easier. Again, it's just getting them to sort of be more aware and answer their own sort of whatever people. So it is, but you're always going to have that 1-2% that are going to try and pull the bluff with your eyes, and just like doesn't work like that.
See what I loved about that is, like, you do get those people, and they're usually the people that lie to you are usually the ones that want the quick fixes as well. It goes hand in hand. They're like, listen, I need to lose, £8 by, the end of the month and stuff like that there. But then they're, as you say, underestimating their calorie intake, probably not even tracking their steps, and they're telling you you're walking 10,000, they're doing whatever they're doing, and in reality, they're not. And yeah, I think that's a massive thing. I remember there was a BBC show, and they were they were talking, I think it might have been the Fat versus Sugar one with the two twin doctors, and they had this female on, and she was an actress. Now, she wasn't really well known, and I don't know if you've seen it, but she was like, listen, I must have a slow metabolism because I can't lose weight. So she was quite heavy, right, as you say, and they were like, okay, once it fast for 12 hours, then eat something, then jump in, and they obviously measured her metabolic rate to the metabolic chamber and the mask, and then they turned around and they sat her down. They're like, your metabolism the same as everybody else's. And she's like, what's going on here? Like, why am I not losing weight? So they're like, we want to do a written food diary and we want to do a video food diary. Now, on the video food diary, she underreported by 20%, right? On the written food diary, she underreported by 40%. Right now, she genuinely didn't mean to. So she was starting off with a fruit salad bowl for breakfast, but the bowl was massive. And then she was having like a salad for lunch, but she wasn't accounting for the olive oil and everything else. She was just assuming like healthy food. She was healthy, it's good for me. And our caloric intake was probably double, maybe 1.5 times what she was actually reporting. And they were just like, well, obviously you need to adjust this sort of stuff. And you find that, as you say, there more often than not as well. Like, so, well, last question here, and sure, and we'll wrap it up.
Just on that point there, we're talking.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just on that point there, we're talking about people telling lies and stuff like this. I don't know about you, but it's an extremely small number of people. Like, again, it's just bring it back to the business side thing for say maybe the people, coaches, listeners. If you have a lot of people coming through your system who are generally telling lies and you're not being successful, you need to have a better look at your intake and your filtering process. Again, just with what we do with our filtering process and even with what we charge and stuff, we don't really, honestly, with extremely high success rates. So we do. I'm sure it's the same with yourself, but if you do have that issue, if a lot of people come through, I remember whenever I started out, I would have had a lot of that, and it was for both reasons. One, wasn't really giving them, I was giving them generic meal plans, and I was charging very little for that. Problems at the start with regards to that. The best way to filter that out is to start putting this up, and that automatically filters out the time wasters, the people who genuinely will just go to somewhere cheaper and get half a result at the end of the day. But do make sure you've got a decent filter process in place. You're not just on board and every single person is coming at the cheapest rate to do it for.
Yeah, that's a massive marketing thing that we took on, and as you say, we've probably all done it. We started off cheap and people didn't value it, and I remember writing meal plans, and like I was, the term bespoke meal plans is always sort of put about
That's my favorite thing. That's my favorite thing. Like I seen one even better. I was like, somebody was posting up about flexible nutrition plans. I was like, what the fuck is a flexible nutrition plan? I was like, what is that? What is that? Like, is that like option A and B, or what's the crack about? Like,
what do you fancy eating today? Go ahead there, enjoy yourself. Yeah, and I remember whenever I like my consultation process, it's about 13, 14 pages of, like you say, everything, knowing what they do on a day-to-day basis, what activities they enjoy, what exercise, what foods they like, dislike, blah blah blah. And what I was finding was, by the time, if they hadn't logged it on MyFitnessPal or whatever it is, I'd be logging their food, I'd be trying to figure out their likes and dislikes, trying to maybe potentially pick out trigger foods that are obviously not going to be best for them at that starting point, and then writing a meal plan, building it around obviously calories, and maybe putting in different macronutrients. Depending on the client, I might not mention that, but I was taking me on average maybe 5-6 hours to write this meal plan, and I remember going, oh my god, this meal plan is phenomenal, I'm able to give them this, and it was very flexible. And then they just didn't follow it, and I was just like, okay, that meal plan should.
Yeah, you probably only charge them for like half an hour of your time as well.
Exactly. And then it got to the point where it was just like, right, we need to charge more for this. And people were like, go now. Like for me, before I even do anything, it's like £150. Just like, that's how much it is. And they're like, what? And I was just like, the time and effort I put into that. And even then it's still cheap. And, and I'll coach you for the first couple of weeks. And if you want, then the additional fees on top. But it's a case of, as you say, they won't value you. And we found this whenever we had a personal trainer a female that came through our academy. And she's a personal trainer. First thing she did, this is just marketing aspect, she posted up her prices on her Facebook cover photo, and we messaged her like, get that down ASAP. She says, why? She says, do we not teach you anything? If you put your prices up, people judge you by price. That is it. They don't judge you by what you do, what you stand for. It's just like, they're looking at you, I see Crooks, you're a personal trainer, PJ, you're a personal trainer. What's the difference?
They're just window shopping, so they are. Like I don't think I had somebody the other day asked me just the cost and price. I'm like I'll give you the price list, but that's totally irrelevant. You have no idea what you're getting for price. So they're just now again, there's no point getting those kind of people on calls. They're just there shopping for the cheapest, but they're going to come back 6 months later fucked. So they are they haven't fulfilled what they wanted, and they're going to have to pay double again. So they are plus whatever they wasted already. So it's like the same as anything. Buy cheap, you buy twice. Doesn't matter what that is. Like the same sort of things apply. And like you can't really afford to play around with your health and stuff. And people giving you dodgy cheap advice.
Massively, and that's, as you say there. Like we found that if we just went, here's our price, like we actually don't even answer messages about like how much you charge. We just don't. It's just like everything is application only. Like in the last 8 months, we just strip back. We don't do gym membership in our gym. Everything is coaching only. It's a private facility. You want in, this is the cost. And you'll find people going, oh, that's a bit too much. So it's like, that's okay. Like that's unfortunately what we charge. But a lot of the time you'll find, like as you say, the screening process we would use application, phone call, meeting. And if someone's coming down, they're taking your phone call and they're coming up to the meeting. At some point, like I tell them the price on the phone anyway. We can't just turn up. Or sometimes amazing when people walk in, you tell them the price of the transformation, and you see people just go white. It's just like, what? I was just like, yeah. How would you like to pay for that? oh shit. There's the door if you need it. But yeah, it's a case of, as you say, you'll get those people who have tried everything and tried cheap, and then they get to a point it's just like, right, okay. I had a guy last night who's joining a little program I have called Summer Shreds, and we just did a simple movement screen. So we use stuff like FMS, and I do some sports massage and did some biomechanics stuff there. And he's just like, whoa, I'm blown away. Like, the last guy I had out of, not mentioning the gym, it's a commercial gym. It's just like, he just scribbled the name out of his last client and just gave me the training program and the meal plan.
It's hard to beat a diet plan on a piece of A4 paper, like, sure it isn't.
Yeah, exactly. And do you know what? Again, like, I'm honest with my guys, as like, this is the level you want to be at, but I feel for you, because you could turn around and go, if I can have 12 weeks for you, 16 weeks for you as a client, I'm going to get you from A to B. And then what I usually tell them is, if they don't see a result, especially in the first 4 weeks, they're highly demotivated. They're going to move on. They're just going to give up. And then it gets to the point where, giving the client what they want and what they need, there has to be a fine-tuned balance. You know what I mean? Or as you say there, it's an education. But like the client there who's eating 1,000 calories, like here's what I would do with you in my professional opinion. And a lot of them, because they'll probably see your results, they want the results that you're getting. They'll just go, okay, and just agree to everything, and then they're just not a good fit after a couple of weeks. You're still trying to educate them, you're still trying to push them, and they're just not like, oh no. And the same thing happened. A client actually of ours, she's a qualified personal trainer, and he spoke about a client he had, and the client was 25 stone, went down to 19 stone, but he was eating 1,000 to 1,200 calories a day, training 7 days a week. And he was like, listen, I've worked out your calories. You should be eating 3,200, blah, blah, blah. And I says to the PT. I was like, you're exactly right in what you said, but what you didn't realize is you're dealing with a person here. Psychologically, he can't see that. He thinks in his head, and I've dealt with a lot of overweight people who got lean. In their head, if they eat more food, they think they're going to get bigger. And as you said,
yeah, it's an educational thing. Like, again, as much as we talk about how 1200, in some cases I work with a lot of females, like some of them have to go down to that point at some stage to get down. That's not an issue. If that's short term, that's okay. It's the process of bringing them back out of that there. So like, so your dude there who's 19 stone, like he's lost 6-7 stone. Like he hasn't exactly done anything wrong. So he's lost a shitload of weight. So he has. So you've just went. They just went and told him, "Oh, you've sort of nearly done that wrong." So he's lost 6-7 stone. It's more about how is he going to keep getting better, and again, it's educating with that of getting down, but then staying down there. He's not going to be able. He doesn't probably want 7,000 calories for the rest of his life, but then the education side of things going even slowly reversing that back up. And girls who come to us who have a history of the usual sort of low calories, like we're not going to double your calories next week. You're going to find that pretty difficult to actually fulfill and do, going from 1,000 to 1,900 calories. Like it's a lot of movement whenever you actually generally clean it up, in terms of food quality. You can do that obviously very easily with better quality food choices, but whenever you actually start to pick...
Oh, you're breaking up there a bit, buddy. Sorry, you're breaking up a bit there. Yeah, go ahead, repeat that there first.
Yeah, it was just, we'll slowly bring you up there in that sort of reverse. You can bring you back to basic. It depends if they're binging or not. If they're binging, then we'll bring them straight away. Just to get over that sort of restriction they have and that sort of need to binge. But again, it's long term. It's very much long term. Of getting them down is one thing, but can we keep them down there and bring their calories back up? We talked about like adaptation and stuff. Keep them down there, but actually trying to get away with even a couple of hundred calories more, rather than just having this off point where it's like, right, well, that's that done. I'm just going to go back to what I was doing 12 weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly, and they haven't learned anyway. But we'll wrap it up, everybody. Appreciate it. Do you want to just tell us where we can get a little bit more information about yourself, about ACF?
Yeah, probably the best place just to get me, honestly, is just via Facebook. If you're female and you're interested in what we sort of do, or you want to just see a bit more about what we do, then if you just search for the Facebook group, Crooks Fitness Bikini Academy, you even just put my name into like Facebook, Instagram, you should come across my pages pretty easily and say that's the best way to find me and see exactly what we do.
Perfect. And again, thank you for coming on. Guys, I'd highly recommend, if you are interested in, dropping some body fat and having a better approach to nutrition, Ashley's it's a great guy to know and try. And it's something we try and do with our clients and stuff as well. And they need more people in the industry doing that stuff as opposed to trying to take people on. So, which we see a lot. So
thank you for having me on.
No worries, buddy. And again, sure, we'll let you know when this goes live. And just for anybody who's listening, if you enjoyed it, give us a rating on iTunes and SoundCloud, and even just because we don't charge for this, we're giving value. If you can share it on there as well, it'll help a lot of people. So thank you very much, Ashley, buddy.
Thank you.
Speak to you soon. Bye.
Okay, guys, so thanks for watching today. And just one more thing before we go. If you got value from what you just listened to and you get value from the show, then simply pay it forward by sharing. Thank you very much.
Yeah.